It's a new week, and naturally, many things have changed, and some things have stayed the same. Well, for me, recently, I have been doing a little bit of reflecting on myself from my own behavior because recently I've noticed that I'm kind of losing control. I'm derailing and I am a little bit deranged. Well, not to that extent, but I felt like I was losing a grip of who I wanted myself to be. So I decided to sit down and have an honest reflection between you and I to sort out this Mulan moment that I'm going through right now. If singing to her reflection helped with your situation, I am going to try and do the same in my bathroom with my microphone in my hand. Who is that girl I see staring straight? Oh, that's me. As humans, naturally, we're continuously trying to improve ourselves, but there's always some instances where our laziness kick in and we fall back to our old routine, or we give in to temptations that distracts us from becoming the person that we plan on being and doing things that we plan on completing. And I too have realized that recently I'm losing a little bit of my grip. I'm losing a little bit of my flow. And I want to find out why, because I don't want to be stuck in this state. And I was baffled. Like, what is happening? What have I been doing wrong? This just suddenly happened. It wasn't really like a gradual thing that eventually built itself. So I decided to look at what I have been doing from the morning to night and see what I have been doing differently or what could be a potential cause to my pattern of self-destruction. Starting in the morning, usually I wake up at 6 o'clock and I notice it's becoming more difficult these days. And I do have a reason for it. Usually I go to bed at 12 so that I can wake up at 6. And when I wake up at 6, I usually prepare some work that I have to do or I edit a little. And then I do that all the way until 8 o'clock. And at 8 o'clock is where I take another 1 hour nap and I'll wake up at 9 again to do some more work, have lunch, and then go to school. However, recently, this routine has been disrupted due to the fact that 2 weeks ago, I received a new schedule. So this schedule that I just told you about was created based on the schedule I used to have for, I want to say 13 weeks for another school term. But now is the beginning of a new school term and all my classes have changed and my levels have increased. So I have increased amount of prep that I need to do and my days are becoming more tiring to a point where I get home really late and then when I get home at that time, I'm hungry or I have to do a little bit more work so that I stay up longer than I intend to be so I cannot go to bed by 12, which means when I wake up in the morning, it gets increasingly difficult so I don't wake up on time. And then that pushes my entire schedule 1 or 2 hours and my naps are extended as well because if I try to wake up at 6, I am tired. So I wake up at 7. Okay, then I work 1 hour, so 7 to 8-ish, and then I try to take a nap. But because I was already tired before that, instead of having a 1 hour nap, my body would just refuse to wake up. Like I would wake up at 10. I'm like, crap, I still have to prepare 2 classes. I don't have enough time. I have to eat lunch. I also have to prepare dinner. So it just sends me into this frenzy. Also, previously, my classes were only 40 minutes, but now my classes have extended to, I've been using the word extended a lot in this podcast. My classes have been elongated from 40 minutes to 3 hours. So that is a huge difference that my body had to adapt to, especially because I am a very snacky person, so I get hungry very fast. No, I do not have a fast metabolism. I I keep everything that I eat, but I just want to eat. I guess it's a bad habit that I need to break. But going back to what I was referring to, because my classes are 3 hours, now I don't have enough time to actually eat. When first week, when I was trying to just kind of write it out and see how the schedule goes, I barely have enough time to snack on some nuts. And I realized that and I readjusted it the second week. So for dinner, second week, I will have 2 eggs. I have 2 5-minute breaks. So for the 2 5 minutes break, first break, I will eat 1 egg. And then second break, I will finish the other egg. So I will only have 2 eggs for dinner, right? And naturally, I will get very hungry when I come home at around 11. And I will want to eat. I hate myself for doing this. But I would first, it's like a push and pull effect. I'll be like, nah, I'm not hungry. I'm not going to eat. It's okay. It's already really late. I should go to bed because tomorrow you have to wake up early and you have to prep and you have a long day of classes. So you're going to be exhausted. You need to rest up. And the other side, the devil on my shoulder is like, dude, you only ate 2 eggs for dinner. You need energy, okay? That's not enough calories. You need to reward yourself for a hard day of work. So I would eat things like fried chicken or ramen or bread or toast or sandwich. It's like my hand just goes into autopilot mode. You know, the self-driving mode that you can turn on Tesla? My hand is like a Tesla and it just drives itself into my refrigerator, into my freezer, grabbing whatever I think I want to eat or whatever my hand wants to eat, I guess. Ice cream or this kind of sweets, that kind of sweets, things that I really should not have been eating late at night because after I eat, I don't want to go to sleep right away. So I end up staying an extra hour and a half later than what I'm supposed to. So instead of having a sleep schedule that goes from 12 to 6, I am now looking at a 1:30 to 6 or like a 2 to 6. That's why I cannot wake up early in the morning consistently. That's why my nap times are becoming longer. That's why I feel extra tired at school when I'm doing the same amount of work. All because of my mouth and my hand working together to destroy myself. But it feels very frustrating because at the moment when I am teaching, there's this adrenaline pumping, right? And I'm like trying to stay focused, trying to drive the team home. However, after I get off of work, when I come home, come back to the apartment, rush just kind of dies down. And then my brain is like, hey, I know you were busy, so I did not tell you, but you're actually kind of hungry. Or maybe you should eat because you didn't really get to eat a lot. And that's why I go into this eating spree. And it's already bad enough that I'm eating full meals late at night. I also readjusted my workout schedule. I usually work on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I work out on Tuesdays and Thursdays and I just do weight training. So usually when I come back, I feel very exhausted. But with my old schedule, it was okay because classes were easy to prep. But now with the 3-hour classes, it takes way longer and I have to consider many things. So I need to reserve some energy for my Tuesdays and Thursdays schedules. So I reduce the workout intensity. And now I am consuming more and I'm consuming more late at night. It feels very counterintuitive. It's like I just erased all the progress I've made in the previous weeks just because I've been eating like fried chicken every night at 12:30 or possibly even 1 a.m. in the morning. And delivery in South Korea just hits different. It's so much easier. It's so much more convenient. So there's less resistance when I decide to buy fried chicken for dinner. I'm not trying to shift the blame, but I think the delivery app should take 50% of responsibilities. Like, why are you being so considerate? Why do you have such great user experience, user interaction? I literally cannot keep my hands off of you. But in all seriousness, I am the only person to blame. I am the conductor of this train, and because of my poor decisions, That's why my train have derailed. I am my own enemy. Now, aside from things that were kind of directly affected by my change of schedule, there were also other things that I've noticed have gone through some changes too. And for me, in my free time, I've noticed that I'm experiencing some mood swings. No, I'm not going through menopause. I am actually quite far away from that as of now. Plus, it's human to go through mood swings because we have to juggle with a lot of emotion. It's just that recently, mine have been happening a lot more frequently. And I'm like, what is going on? Usually, I do a pretty good job of internalizing my stress, but recently, I just don't know why I'm doing these things. I have this bad habit of shutting down when I'm in a bad mood. So what does that mean? It means that when I'm in a bad mood, I turn stoic. Like I'm not making eye contact. I am ignoring whatever is happening. I'm being oblivious. I am gone. Like I've checked out from the server, I've logged out, I shut down, I'm not talking to you. And usually this rarely happens, but when it does, it goes to like the fullest extent. And it's really inconsiderate, especially to the people around me. If I'm alone, fine, do that. You're not interrupting anyone. You're not making anyone feel uncomfortable. But when I'm with others, and this usually happens when I'm around with my significant other, and it causes him a lot of stress. For obvious reasons, right? If you're just sitting with this person who's not talking, who's not making eye contact, you don't know what she's thinking about. You want to help her, but you don't know how. And this is not even your problem, but it's making you feel uneasy. So I owe a lot of apologies to my significant other for having to handle me, well, that version of me, so many times recently. And I really have to step back and reflect on my behavior. One, it's inappropriate. Two, this should not be happening with this frequency, right? So I had to sit down. I had to diagnose myself. What was I doing differently that is contributing to these outbreaks? Then I journaled out my thoughts. Basically what I did was I made a list of things that I was grateful for, things that I did not have, or things that I could not do before I've met my significant other, Mr. Taro. And writing them down really put me back into the perspective of, hey, these are some things that you may have forgotten, you may have not remembered to appreciate every day. And I know it's tough sometimes. Everyone deals with stress from various outlets because we have so many contact points with the society. There's so many possibilities of chances that your good mood will be ruined. But don't overlook these small things and let the bigger mood of the moment cast a shadow over them, because these small things are the foundation to bigger feelings. To, eventually, in a good scenario, better things. In a worse scenario, huge arguments that you could possibly not recover from. And interesting enough, today I stumbled upon a post from someone that I admire. She's an actress, and she always says some wise word. And today is actually March 14th. So if you're in Asia, you understand that today is White Day. Basically, White Day is the reverse of Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is where in Asia, girls give guys chocolates to express their admirations, right? Express their feelings. And White Day is where the guys respond to that, by giving the girls chocolate or flowers or take them out to eat. Basically giving a yes or no to their proposal. And she wrote this. She said, love has expiration date, or love has age. It's impossible that love lasts forever. So every day when we wake up, we should be happy that today we still love each other. And on the days that lovers love each other, we celebrate love before love is lost. Happy white Valentine's Day, right? I was like, you know what? This is deep, and it's true. As sad as it can be, love is so hard to maintain love forever. As with any relationship, right? Just because you're born of blood doesn't mean you might love your family member forever. The only thing that's prolonging that love is with the active effort to, bond together. And as lovers, it's also important to appreciate or to remind yourself every day, because another day is one day further away from the first day that you started dating, when your the feelings were the deepest? No. When your feelings were most saturated? No. When your feelings were most, I was about to say has the most potential energy, and now it turns into kinetic energy, but that is physics. We don't talk about physics here. But that is when you love, when you yearn for each other the most, right? You love them so much, you are willing to risk your pride to ask them out to date you. And every day after that, it's like your jeans. After every wash, the color gets faded a little. It's inevitable, but with efforts, you can prolong it as long as both of you are willing to. And with actions like my bad behavior where I just kind of shut down, that's not a good reinforcement. And matter of fact, it's not reinforcing anything. So that's why it's ever so important for me to reflect on this and remind myself, go back to square one. Taro doesn't deserve that side of me. That is not what he signed up for. And that is not really truly who I am completely. So I need to be able to control that, contain that, learn to minimize it, how to better internalize it, so that it would be better for both of us. Because as a couple, you're now a unit. And the whole purpose of the formation of this unit is so that you can live life together as a team. And if you've ever played a team sport, you understand that even if it's just one person on your team that's just completely flocking out, it's not communicating, it's not syncing with the group, it could tank your whole game. And as a part of a unit, I don't want to be that player that sinks this entire ship. And I've also come to find out that I was more stubborn than I thought I am. I've always thought that my mother is stubborn, my father is stubborn, my sister is stubborn, but I am also, for good reason, am stubborn. Probably through genetics, who knows? They just airdropped that quality onto me when we were living together, I guess. But at times, it seems like it's hard for me to apologize, and that's a bad habit. I understand that, and I'm trying to fix that. But it seems like I feel very prideful that I cannot say sorry first, even though I understand that I am in the wrong. So that was also something that I dug up and realized while I was reflecting on my other bad habit. So I will be working on that to fix it so that our ship can sail farther into the horizon. Usually I consider myself pretty good at handling stress, but this new schedule just really forking me up in every way possible. And plus, things at work have also been a little bit chaotic. There was some personnel change that we did not foresee, so that is why we are in shambles. And usually I do a pretty good job at decomposing stress or bad mood from work. These days is just a little derailed. My control panel is just going bonkers, and I'm a little messier than usual, but I'll try my best. I'll keep my head straight and bounce back. Hopefully, next week, oh yeah, week 3, I'm already getting a new schedule again. So who knows if my schedule would change anytime soon, but I am hoping that with this new schedule, I will earn a piece of myself back, and I can learn to make peace with my changing schedules and in turn changing students. It's so weird because I barely get to know my current students, and now it's time for me to say goodbye. All right, next week you guys will have a new teacher. Yeah, and I have to go meet some new kids and try to become their teacher, become their semi-best friend until the school term ends or whenever my schedule is changed again. Oh, and speaking of new schedule, there is this one class that I am just absolutely dreading. I was really hoping that with a changed schedule, I would no longer have that class, but unfortunately I still do. It is this one class. I consider it as a limbo class. This class consists of students who came from various levels, from the lower level, like kids level, to like middle school, higher level. And the reason why the kids are here is almost like an enrichment class. They did not do so well in their higher level class. They couldn't catch up, they couldn't keep up, or they're too old to continue to stay in the lower levels, so that they just decided to make a gumbo and toss all these kids in here together. And the goal for this class is to get them ready for the higher levels for the first time or again, right? But it's very hard to manage since they're all at very different levels. You will have one or two kids that came from higher levels that they have higher understanding. It's just that they could not produce a response fast enough, or they cannot think and translate fast enough in their head. And then on the other hand, you have a group, like various groups of kids from the lower level that barely learned about sentence structures and how to write a paragraph and just very basic things. And they're trying to get them ready for higher level class. Or they just took them out of the lower level class simply because they are now in like 6th grade, or they're about to be middle school 1st grade. So they're too old to be in those classes. Usually lower levels consisted of kids from 3rd grade to like 4th and 5th grade. That's it. So they've passed the mark, and that's the reason why they're there. And it's hard to uniform a way where I can help all of them simultaneously, because the expectations that were given to me this class, because it's a new class, like legit, other schools don't have this kind of class. They just decided to make one so that we can keep these kids enrolled in the academy, I guess. There's no structure, so it's just completely freestyle. And I did week 1 of teaching, and then the teacher's lead, what is it? What did they call? Head instructor. Yes, head instructor, the head Korean instructor came up to me and was like, okay, I want you to do this and this instead. Like, I want you to focus on reading. Instead of reading, do writing. Instead of like listening and also speaking. But I only have 3 hours. And it takes the kids forever to do reading. And she's like, just speed through it. But they cannot speed through it. They have to at least understand the story. But that takes them a while. And to make sure that they understand the story, we have to answer the comprehension questions. That takes them a while. But she wants 2 stories to be done in an hour, which is not impossible, but it's also very hard to make it happen, because she also wants to squeeze in writing in those 3 hours as well. I can cover all 3 sections in 2 hours, but I'm just scratching at the surface. Like, they don't really even get to learn what we really want them to improve. So I felt very frustrated, but I'm a new teacher. I can't say much, seniority, right? And I'm just trying to scratch my head and think about ways that I can somehow pull everyone up together. I don't know, I'm still thinking. That's why I'm a little stressed. I'm always dreading Tuesday, because that's when I have that class. Like, I have one kid who I used to taught, and she's great. She's really, really trying to catch up, to understand. But with the schedule that they want me to teach, I just don't want to fail her or any other kids in that class, because my intention is for them to get better so they can get out of this class and go to the level that they're supposed to go. So I'm not, because I feel like I'm wasting their time. For the kids that are smarter, that's just doing basic stuff in there, I'm like, I need to give them something else to work on. I need to push them harder, but I want to give them more attention, but I don't have the time with the curriculums that I have to cover. And I want to teach them more about writing. I want to help them how to structure it and unify those structures so that when they go to higher level, they won't be so clueless, since I'm teaching those level now, so I understand what is expected of them. It's just a lot of crap in one bowl, and it's the flick of the wrist, and my wrist is slowly dislocating, and I don't know how to flick it anymore, and my dough is looking very poopy, and I don't know if I can shape them into the perfect cupcakes that their parents want them to be. So I feel like I'm failing them. I guess maybe that's why another source of my stress. But after this whole weekend that I spend reflecting, I realized that, I should do this more often. It's crucial. It's like getting a car checkup, right? And this is my mental checkup. Just a little examination to make sure that I am in my best shape, or as good as can be, while I am trying to get used to living in Korea and everything else that comes with that decision. So I guess my takeaway is to reflect often, to keep yourself in the best mental and physical condition, so that no matter where you are, no matter what you want to do, you are doing your best to stay on track. You're keeping yourself in the best condition so that you're prepared for anything else that's coming your way in the future. I am sincerely hoping that the near future will have some sort of change, and I will get a better hang of my new schedule. My new schedule, my 2.0 schedule. 2.0 schedule or 3.0 schedule? At this time, I just lost track of which schedule I'm using now. I'm just trying to go with the flow and trying to stay afloat. I understand there are bigger problems in the world that is happening, and my problems are probably minute, but I just wanted to vent it out. I just wanted to say something about it. And maybe someone else is also feeling the same, and it's normal. You're doing all right. You're doing your best. You and I both. And I felt like this was a safe place for me to share those thoughts. So thank you for being a listener. Thank you for listening to me talk about my insecurities, for lending me your ear hole. Usually I will bother Milk Tea with this kind of stuff, but sadly he's not here right now. So in the meantime, I will just think about him and hoping that he would wake up from his eternal nap, come and find this podcast, listen to it, meow back to me, and let me touch his fluffy belly, because I missed it. I missed his beer belly. I cannot believe I'm admitting it right now on this podcast, but I miss my cat. He's probably going to make fun of me if he could speak English. But for the meantime, that's all right. I'll let him have his glory. So thank you for tuning in to the 27th podcast of Lactose Intolerant, a podcast that I dedicate to my late cat. Stay safe and take care of yourself. I will see you next week.